God, I don't know how we're going to beat last week's show. That was a great show, guys. I mean, there was a lot of love in the room last week, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
Where's that microphone at? Here we go. Got my shirt on. I'll put on headphones and monitor sound. This will be fun tonight. Renee Grossers, look at this. He heard us give a shout out.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? I love Ray and Renee. They're great people.
I saw the emails, our grocers, so that I said it's Ray and Renee. So.
They're great. Cool. Steve Mantia, welcome, brother.
All right. Thank you.
Mikey, give me a countdown.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
The What's Neat This Week video podcast is supported by enthusiastic model railroaders just like you.
These are anyway.
Further support is provided by Microengineering, keeping you on track with quality products for 55 years. Check out their website at www.microengineering.com. Order from your local dealer or order direct by calling 1-800-462-6975.
Additional support is provided by Soundtracks, leaders in the model railroad sound and technology for over 30 years. For more information, visit soundtracks.com and be sure to enter the code FIREBOX at checkout on your order of $50 or more for a special surprise from Soundtracks.
Further support is provided by the NCE Corporation, the power of DCC. Visit their website at ncedcc.com. And thank you for supporting the What's Neat This Week podcast. This is the What's Neat This Week, show number 165 for August 7th, 2021. Post-show after last week's fantastic show. I don't think we can beat it. There was so much love in the room last week, so much good commentary by a lot of great people. And like Chris Palomares did mention, you got Bob Brevard, you've got all these various notable people that have been written in the model press. It was a great show. I actually sat down here and I've watched it probably every night. Just watching it, just enjoying the atmosphere.
Yeah, it was fun.
We've got a smaller crowd tonight. Tonight with me, I've got Mike Budde, who's about to go to Florida for 3 weeks. Happy.
Yeah, thanks. My son's getting married.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Also, I've got with me Steve Mantia, who brought some really cool buildings, these O-scale Menards buildings that we're going to talk about. First, I'm going to talk about this electric bike that my son had built. My son is about to go to Rolla to engineering school in a few more days, and I look forward to, we're going to miss him, but I look forward to what he's going to learn. He built a bike. We went to Walmart and picked up an old scrappy bike without a chain, and he put an electric motor on it. And it got me thinking about railroad speeders and how this technology could be adapted to it. But first, let me show you the bike. I've got B-roll right now of Tyler riding this bike, and it's in kilometers. It was going 43 kilometers per hour. So whatever that translates to in miles per hour, I don't know. Yes. But it was amazing. And then Michelle came home, and we insisted that she ride the bike. So here's some video clips of Michelle getting on this bike, and this thing's got a lot of torque, and when you control the speed with your thumb, and it can get away from you. She looks comfortable on it, and then she started riding it down the road, and sure enough, we got a woo and a hee, and she was into it. Once she started going fast, she was speeding, and she turned around and came back, and it was absolutely amazing to see both of them enjoy themselves on this thing that my son had built. So tonight, I had Steve Mantia ride it and Mike ride it. Guys, tell me what you thought about it.
It was pretty exhilarating. Almost like riding a motorcycle.
I've never ridden a motorcycle, but it had been years since I have been on a bicycle, so I didn't know what to expect. But man, once you gave it the little throttle going down the road, that was the coolest thing in the world. I didn't want to stop riding it either. So
I'm glad you didn't videotape me though.
I know. I'm glad I don't have B-roll of you in the emergency room right now, because your wife would not be happy with that. Not good. So anyway, my thought was, and I've seen on the narrow gauge railroads in a lot of the books back in the 1890s, where they had a bicycle contraption set up where they actually put railroad wheels on this bike wheels that had flanges. I imagine they probably welded and pounded this out. And then they had a bar going across to reach to the other rail, which on narrow gauge is only about 3 feet. And they would ride these bikes down the tracks to do inspections. So I can see a speeder on the railroad easily being powered with this technology.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room for batteries in a speeder, and if the railroad sets up charging spots, a whole new technology that's totally capable and goes green. So I just wanted to show that off. I know that's not totally railroad related, but that's what was neat this week.
Yes,
here at
that
the
is
house.
what's neat.
Ray and Renee Grosser, you heard me give them a shout out as being a very wonderful married couple that took the Nostalgia Trip Railroad. The Nostalgia Trip Railroad, yes. And they took it around the country to many train shows, and this was an HO scale layout, whereas his wonderful wife had built all of these buildings of this town where they used to live, farmhouses. And he sent me a book this week and said, you know, thank you for the shout out. We really miss doing shows with you guys, and we love you guys, and we love what you guys are doing for the hobby. So I'm glad that Ray heard that and contacted me.
Yeah.
And this is a really cool book. I don't know where it's available or how you can get it, other than maybe contacting, actually I don't know. But it shows all the farmhouses and all the beautiful buildings that Renee had built.
That layout was really nice. How long ago was that? Probably at least 10
that was a
years?
Kansas City show back when Dave Davis and I went to
Yeah,
it. So
that's
we're talking
1998.
That was when I did some of my first Walther's catalogs back then. So you're
Wow.
right. That town that she had built these buildings in, her whole town was Waite Park, Minnesota. And then they got rid of the HO scale layout and they started an O scale layout that they started taking around the country. And she built 19 houses on that layout. Wow. So it's a really cool, thank you very much, Ray. We just love your work and thank you very much for sharing it. Other things on the list is this week I got the September What's Neat video completed. Rock and roll. I'm supposed to still write the text for it tonight. Still pictures are in the Dropbox for you, Joe Fugate, and all you guys to edit it. And in that video, we've got some amazing drone footage from our drone pilot of bridges. It's all about the bridges and the water scenes in this video. And I also did a segment on how to make grass tufts, whereas I used wax paper and I put white glue and I put Elmer's white glue, Gorilla white glue. I used rubber cement. I used 4 different kinds of glue to experiment to see what would work the best for making grass tufts using a static grass gun where it would stick into it. You could just peel it right off the wax paper and strategically position it on your layout. So that came out to be a really good segment too. And we've also got a layout tour in that video. So rock and roll, that's all done. Another thing I wanted to talk about briefly tonight is I went through some of the old What's Neat videos that have run in the past, and this is the year 2016, and on the date of the tape, or the computer chip, it showed 2016 of November. And this is where I take the great stuff, Foam Pro, which comes like this in a can. You buy the $50 gun that shoots it, you hold it upside down, you shake it, I'm not going to do it here, and it just whoosh, it just sprays out foam. And the theory was, why couldn't I take some screen, and I wanted to build an O-scale tunnel for like a Christmas train layout. So I took a pile of newspaper, balled it all up, took black flexible window screen, that fiberglass screen, rolled it over the newspaper, kind of taped it down on the edges so it was on a table, and then I covered it with this Foam Pro. I just sprayed it, just back and forth, sprayed it, and as it set up, it was solid. So I then
expands, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah, it does. Then I pulled the newspaper out from underneath the turtle shell that we had just built, cut some holes in the end, and I put a Bachmann-Williams Pacific locomotive going out of it, and it came out really good. So it's a very good way to build scenery, screen scenery, the old method, not using plaster. But you can carve this down. You could drop in some ceiling tile and make your cliffs. It's unlimited possibilities of what you could do with it. So take the idea and build off of it, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So tonight, you brought some amazing buildings. Tell us about these.
Well, I brought a couple of my Menards O-scale buildings, and then one of the HO, just so we can see that. And the fact of, well, it's like everything else, some of the other things I've brought that way. It's the fun part of the hobby there. The lights, the little flying saucer that is picking up the cow.
Hold that
up.
up.
Standpoint here.
I'll shoot some B-roll of this so you guys can see this up close. But
just the little things here that for children of all ages.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's neat, and it's just the different things they come out with.
Is this O scale and is this HO scale?
Yes, we have the HO scale here, and we've got the O scale Dollar Tree store and the UFO. And I've got a few more of the O scale than I do the HO, since I'm primarily Lionel in that. But you plug them in, you're ready to go, get them positioned on the layout, and just adds more to where it needs to go. And that
lighting is the key.
Yes, the LEDs that it puts out is.
That
plus,
is.
you don't have to build it. I mean, look at the roof work. There's tar lines on the roof.
There's even lights on the side of this HO scale building too.
Yeah.
It's very
stuff
thoughtful.
like that flying saucer pulling up the cow. I mean, that's something kids will
kids
really
like.
get
It's a nice
interested in,
smile. It makes it just the things you want to look at and see what else it does. I've got a power plant that lights up, and there's the Pepsi factory in that. So they've really have expanded more and more with it. So I'm really glad to have the opportunity to show more of the stuff off.
When we were about show 50, I made contact with them to see if they would help us promote the hobby, and our numbers were too low then, so it might be time to call them up again and just make contact all over again, because I'd love to have their jingle running at the beginning of this show. What's this pumpkin? Is that a water tower?
It's a water tower, and when we were discussing about favorite trains and things like that, I'll tell a little secret. So my wife, that every August 1st, fall happens at our home.
I saw that.
Yeah,
I was trying to remember who that was.
Yes, the house goes to pumpkins and all different, not scary Halloween, but just the smiling pumpkins. So our house for the next couple of months will be Halloween, and in the fall aspect. So to go along with it, the layout that I have at the house there, we get the Halloween train out with the skeleton, and have the whole thing there, the box car that makes the noise. So we have the theme Christmas, the theme of the train set. And yes, at Christmas time it goes that way. But right now, fall is at our home, and I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to talk about what we do with that, how my wife joins me in the hobby.
I've been there, and she is quite a decorator. That place looks like a museum when you walk into it. There are so many artifacts and antiques, and just it's a joyful house.
Well, thank you.
Do you actually live there, or do you just walk through and look at it?
Well, she lets me live there. Yes, she lets me there. But we move in certain places, and we have to make the time to say, you know what, let's enjoy the basement here. Let's see some of the stuff, and let's move some of the trains around and do it that way.
That's real cool.
That's the story with that. So.
What's this freight car right here? Is that a skeleton coming?
Skeleton, graveyard rail, that type of thing.
So this is like part of the Halloween train.
Part of the Halloween. Got the locomotive. You've got the chase car with the mummy and the Dracula. That you put the little battery in, and it plays your Halloween noises and music.
Is
and
that right?
So.
Oh, the Transylvania Railroad.
Yeah.
How about that?
So it's all just.
And there's a Pennsylvania Railroad keystone right there,
right.
Transylvania Railroad. Let me shoot some
pretty
B-roll of
clever,
this up close so everybody can see this. This is fun because
this is what makes it fun.
This is the kind of stuff that brings the new modelers into the hobby. You don't have to have a shop full of tools. You can just pull these out of the box, arrange them on your piece of plywood or on top of your foam, and get started running your 3-rail Lionel layout or whatever it is that you've got, Williams. This is a way to get people introduced into the hobby.
Yes, it's so simple that it appeals to anyone who is going to use it.
That's fabulous. Mike, we've got these cups. A gentleman walked up to me and handed me this What's Neat This Week in Model Railroading cup. He got the logo right, including 2 pairs of glasses. Who gave us these cups?
Rich Shepard from RS Laser Kits.
Is that right?
Somewhere here in Missouri. But he's the one that had that N-scale building that I built, and we showed it on the show for our layout. But he's got a bunch of, all different scales actually, but a whole bunch of kits, and they go together. The ones I built just go together perfectly. You don't even need glue. They just like snap together or stick together, and they're square. And I really enjoyed building that one N-scale building, even though I was out of my territory working in N-scale. It was a little intimidating, but it worked out really good.
I'll tell you what, that fan over there feels really good, but
Yeah,
I can
sure
hear
does.
it through the headphones. So you guys are getting background noise of a fan down here.
Oh, well.
Last week we had the air conditioner running, and we had a lot of background noise. Some of the microphones were hot, some weren't. It's very difficult to set up sound. The gentleman that helped us with sound in Wisconsin at Train Fest called me on the phone and said, gee, I sure wish I was there to help you guys.
Yeah.
I did as much editing on the sound as I could. I know my father's microphone was very hot on that show, and I turned it down during the edit. So believe me, the original footage was much more distorted than what the final show came out to. Right. But I can't complain about that show.
Oh, yeah, he had a lot of microphones to keep track of there.
We had 4 new lapel mics in addition to the 4 that we always used, and you bought us the first 2, or was it 4 that you bought us? You spent $1,200.
Well,
Thank you very much.
Whatever we needed to buy, that's what was nice to get.
And then we had a handheld. We had George Bukatoff's wife holding the handheld mic, and we switched it out with the military gentleman. So Rad
Yeah,
McGuire.
Rad McGuire. Yeah.
What a neat group of people. I still just can't. I wish every weekend was like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit more work.
Yeah.
But look how much fun we had outside
I
running
know,
trains.
man.
The weather was cool. It was in the 60s.
Yeah,
so
perfect
it was
weather.
Perfect.
That was
Yeah.
there. It
For the
was nice
bonfire.
that people could be in and out, and
Right.
you had groups of people talking in different places, and just being in the background, you could hear people talking.
Little groups.
And seeing it firsthand, and just talking about what was being commented on the show, and just there, it just made it just like it was.
Everybody
just,
enjoyed watching
Yes,
the river flow. They were all so gracious, so complimentary as to thank you for allowing us to come out here and be with y'all. It was just wonderful. Michelle came out there and socialized with us. The whole thing was just a ball. It was wonderful. I wish every show could be just like that. I have a feeling that NMRA National is going to be similar. Because they'll ask us to be on the layout tour.
Mm-hmm.
Various model railroads will be on the layout tour. I think they drive big buses, those commercial duty coaches, and they haul people to the homes.
Yeah.
They unload the buses. They
Wow.
walk around for about a half an hour, and then they load them back up and go to the next layout.
Oh, wow.
So
That'd
that'll
be
be kind
nice.
of interesting. And I don't know whether we're going to do a live show there or a show here. I don't know how that's going to work out just yet. Brad Joseph contacted me this week, and he said he's going to come out and talk to me and kind of give me an idea on what's going on. They're still getting a feel for how it's all going to shake out. But it's going to be a great show.
That final weekend is what, August 14th and 15th or something like that?
I don't know the dates yet. I actually don't. I didn't pay attention to that part.
It's a week long.
I still feel like I'm promoting the show that didn't happen.
Right.
I mean, we promoted that show for 8
Yeah.
months, riding up to, and then COVID came, and wow. I think they called me in March and said we're going to cancel it. I was like, don't cancel it, don't cancel it. The COVID will be over in a month. Oh boy, was I wrong.
Yeah.
My goodness. What did you bring tonight, model-wise, Mike?
These, I'm always pretty late to the game, but I got a couple of these Rapido center flows, ACF center flow cars.
Those are Rapidos, no kidding.
Yeah, the two center ones are. The ones on each end were old AHM models from the 60s that I had tried to upgrade, and I didn't know anything about the hatches or the outlets or anything, so I did the best I could. But these new ones from Rapido, I think they've been out for about a year, but I just got them. They're just amazing. All the piping and the fine
Can I touch them?
stuff. Yeah, pick one
I'll
up
shoot
and-
B-roll for everybody to look at
Okay.
these up close, or maybe shoot them outside if Mike leaves them with me.
Yeah, we can do that.
But let's look at the AHM here.
Yeah, that's
I need to hold on. I've got to get my glasses first.
first one of those I ever got when I was young was
do you think about that?
Frisco, and Frisco never had any of those. It was really just
Man, the detail.
New York Central Merchants Dispatch.
So you
that-
put a Plano roof walk on the old AHM.
Yeah.
And then obviously
the hatches are
these come with
wrong,
it
but
already.
Yeah, now the AHM could probably be detailed out, but boy, it'd be a lot of work to come up to the standards of this.
even if it's
one.
not detailed, your weathering makes up for it.
Yeah, I
because
put
your
38-inch
weathering makes
wheels
it look
on
really
it.
good.
Put the correct trucks on it and stuff, and
They
that-
feel good too, right weight.
Yeah, right. And a couple other things I brought. There's a company called Sue Parts, and it's 3D printed stuff. And man, it's really becoming increasingly obvious that 3D printing is a huge thing in our hobby. And this guy makes this trailer. It's a ribbed, open top Sue line trailer, a specific prototype, and it's very detailed, and you can hardly see really any lines in any of this new stuff. And here's the tires and stuff. All the parts are ready to go, and I wish I could start working on it, but I'm going out of town, so maybe I'll take it with me. I don't know.
Ooh, do it.
That wouldn't go over very well.
No, that actually wouldn't. You might be safe taking a train book to the beach.
Yeah, right.
I've done
right.
that before. I
Yeah.
got in trouble for that once too.
But a couple other things. The 3D printed there. This truck side frame was printed by Joseph Blevins from Dallas, Texas, and it was drawn by Roger Acaster of St. Charles. I met him at the show about 5 years ago, and we got to be friends. And I'm making this 1/25th scale Vertipack. I mean, I've been dreaming about it for a long time. I got a lot of the Vegas done, and I got one door 3D printed, but it's real grainy and stuff. Roger drew that up for me and printed it out at Shapeways, but Roger sent the file for the truck side frames to Joseph down in Dallas, and he printed this out, and it looks like injection molded plastic. I mean, it's perfect. So I'm going to be able to build the trucks, and once I get that done and get some doors 3D printed, using the drawing that Roger did. It'll come out really good. I'm kind of excited. I think maybe I'll get this done before my modeling days are over.
Now, you brought an open auto rack here, and I'm going to show footage of this right now because it was a work of art. And I think you said you carved the side frames out of wood.
Well, I just built them up out of northeastern scale basswood shapes. And, I built it basically like with square pieces, and then I rounded it all off to make the side frames. And I made springs by wrapping pieces of wire around a paintbrush handle, and
they looked fantastic. I got close-up video of those trucks. I do remember that. And the side of the car, the actual flat car was scratch built too, wasn't it?
Oh, the whole thing is scratch
built.
Yeah.
And what scale is that?
1/25 scale.
1/25 scale.
Yeah.
So the cars are what dictated the scale for you.
Right.
Because Mike loves cars. Trains are secondary, right? It's the cars. Which is really cool, because that's what I appreciated about the gentleman from the vehicle modeling group.
Oh, Sam Dennehy.
All those guys.
Right.
I mean, they were really into the cars, but they're at a train show. But it goes hand in hand, because everywhere there's a train, there's a car. Mm-hmm. And that's the kind of thing you don't want to have meet, but they did too.
Right.
I know, right? So another thing we've got on the table here, and I wanted to talk about this, we haven't covered this in a long time, and that is the NCE Power Cab. And that's the simple system for $199, whereas it comes with a little power pack that plugs in the wall. This is what actually powers the layout, and we use this on an N-scale layout over there that we were building. It comes with a plate to plug in the cord that would plug into this and then plug into that. I don't have them on the table because there'd be too many wires. But there's like a telephone cord that comes off of this, or a straight wire cord, plugs right into the faceplate, and then you can control your train. And this works identical to the radio system that we use down here, which is in fact right here on the table. They're all interchangeable. In fact, this is an upgradable system. So when you look for it at the hobby shop, it comes in a simple box just like this, NCE. Thank you very much, Jim Scorse, for educating me on it, because once I got a hold of these, I love it. The other favorite throttle I like is that UWT 100 that Dan Michio brought us. I use that a lot in conjunction with my NCE system and with my Digitrack system, because it works with both. It's so versatile today. It's so wonderful that the manufacturers are creating throttle systems that are actually compatible with each other. So you're not just stuck with one system or another system. They'll work with everything.
Yeah,
just like when guys come down here and they use their cell phones to run trains, using that Wi-Fi app that, I don't know what it's called, but Daniel Coombs, if it was here, he could tell me all about that.
Y-throttle or something.
Y-throttle or We-throttle or something to that effect. But the fact is how wonderful it is to be able to use your cell phone as a throttle. I mean, it's so adaptability and interchangeable. I think it's wonderful the way the hobby is going. It's just going to make it simpler for everybody. What else we got to talk about tonight, Mike?
I don't know. Just I wanted to go, again give a shout out to a couple of people: Sam Dennehy and Tom Hart, Marty Eulig, guys that I had met, and some other guys that I hadn't met. But it was really fun seeing all these people. And one guy that really I was so glad to finally meet and talk to him was a guy I've been reading his articles for years named Bob Harp, and he's an ACL modeler, and I built the caboose I've been showing the last few weeks. I used his article to build that caboose, so I wanted to show him that. Well, when he came over to look at it, he saw my bell trucks, and he's an old pole climber too, and so we just started talking about those trucks, and man, he knew the model number and everything of every one of those trucks, and he was really impressed. We really didn't talk that much about the caboose. We just, swapped pole climbing stories and just, talking bell stuff. But it was really cool to meet him. So I'm glad he showed up for that show, and it was really neat. Bob Steers coming, and
yeah, Robert Steers was great. Those models that he brought last week were great. He's so well spoken. I love the Radisson McGuire. In fact, he brought us this amazing, I'm not even going to try to get it off the shelf, that amazing truck. I'll show still pictures I shot outside of it. Last week I showed him. This is amazing. It's just amazing. Pulling a damaged tank on a flatbed, there's a lot of work in that. And I traded him the Athearn locomotive that was pulling the military train. I think it was NS. It had a bow on it. What's the name of that locomotive? No. Anyway, it was the actual locomotive that was used in the ad, and he cherished it, and so he wanted it. And so we did a little swap, And I just really appreciate Radisson McGuire. He's such a young, very knowledgeable
Right.
modeler. There's so many modelers out there like that. It's just what makes this hobby rich. It's the best hobby in the world because it's got some of the best people in that I've ever met. We've created so many friends with this show, and I really love the way this show has allowed us to meet people that you and I, hanging out with Dave in the basement, would have never imagined
Right,
meeting.
right.
And the limited amount of people that you would meet just through the magazines, we'd remember the names, Rand Hood, and all the amazing names through the years that really were, the model railroad, the ones that set the pace for the direction of the hobby through their articles. And now with this show, we're able to bring these various people onto the show, and we would welcome, folks to contact me and come here and visit on a Saturday night and be on the show with us. This is your show, and you're more than welcome to come here, travel here, and be on the show with us. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
Plus, the amazing thing is, look, since we started show number 1 so many years ago, back in 2016 or 17, look at all the wonderful individuals that have strolled in through the basement door. James Regier is one of them, Joshua Barton. These guys, we didn't know who they were, and now they're part of the cast of the show almost every week. So we welcome more individuals like that might live here in St. Louis or live close and would like to take part in doing this show, show off your creativity, tell your stories. This is a hobby shop bull session. Every Friday night, we'd meet up at Tinkertown in Ladue, Tinkertown. Remember Bob Wischlager and Denny? And we'd meet up there, and I'd just walk around and listen to the stories that were exchanged and buy stuff and listen to stories and buy stuff. And it was pretty much what I did every Friday night before I went home after chasing buildings all day long. So anything else to talk about tonight?
I want to thank Bob and Chris Palomares for this T-shirt. I'll wear this next time. But
Ooh, open it up. What's it say?
It says Safe Pack. That's a little hint about
put that shirt away.
Might become. Well, Bob was wearing it last week.
No,
so.
was he? Okay, we're not going to talk about that. All right, this is the best hobby in the world with the best people in it. I've got 2 of them hanging out with me tonight. Daniel's at a wedding. Joshua couldn't come. James Regier's in Kansas. I don't know. I think Campbell Rice is traveling for his work. So we just kind of put together a skeleton crew tonight and did 25 minutes, which was exactly the goal. So until next week, folks, best hobby in the world. We're going to take the NCE system now and go run some trains.
All right.
Right?
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's that, guys. Look at me and wave. Oh, we got to do a thumbnail, don't we? All right, thumbnail. Thumbnail. You come closer to me. I'm going to leave Mike right where he's at.
Okay.
You go this way.
Okay.
Just like that. Oh, we want the buildings too, don't we? We'll move over here. Hey, Stripe, you want to be in the shot? I'll go on the other side of you and wave, okay? I'll just do it that way. Because the buildings are cool. Those will all be in the picture. Yeah, right. Let me kill this camera right here.